A government program that's meant to help Iowans with disabilities may actually be doing more harm than good in some cases because of the rules connected to it. Joining me now is an Iowan who is working to change that. Ben Grauer, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you're a native Iowan, grew up in the Winterset area, and you have not always been in a wheelchair.
No, yes, I dove into a farm pond 15 years ago this June actually, and I suffered a spinal cord injury after breaking my neck, and I've been in the wheelchair ever since.
Radically changes your perspective on life.
It really does, yeah. I was 20 years old at the time, and I had a lot of dreams and aspirations that I thought might have been cut short, but over time and with help from family and friends, I've really found that there's a lot of life left living after an experience like that. It's been really enjoyable.
You're making such a huge difference in the world. I want to get into the nitty-gritty about one of the things that you're working on now because it's super timely. You were up at the State House yesterday. So just explain for people Medicaid for employed people with disabilities. I think people don't understand that this even exists.
Right, yeah, we hear Medicaid and we oftentimes think of healthcare for individuals that are lower income and things of that nature. What we don't think about is how Medicaid is used by people with disabilities. When we think about that, I look to my instances where I need help at certain points in my life that I can't get through my insurance through the University of Iowa. Things like personal care attendants, custodial care, and things of that nature just aren't available in programs except for Medicaid. And if you're disabled, you have to have those programs.
All right, I had our wonderful graphics team put what you sent me into a graphic that we can show people because this really gets down to the issue at hand, which is these income and asset limits that are currently in place. I just did a quick Google search. What is 250% of the federal poverty level? So it's $36,000 a year for an individual.
Correct.
So essentially, we're sort of incentivizing people not to work or at least don't work too much, don't be too successful.
Exactly. I think that in those instances, when it is that low, you're making people choose between maintaining their benefits that they need to survive and then pursuing life that's gainfully employed that we've all been told we have to look forward to and work for our entire lives. When we grow up and we decide that we want to work and we need to work to be part of that community, and it's, for people with disabilities, it's that aspect of dignity as well. We need to have that access to work to create lives that are meaningful to us.
So let's talk a little bit about your current work because it's directly related to this. So tell us about your work now through the University of Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, specifically through the University of Iowa, we have programming there that incentivizes and we work toward work for people with disabilities, of all disabilities, making sure that work is a priority and that everyone with a disability has that access. And it's a big component of what we do. And that's both at the federal and state level where we have that prerogative to help people with disabilities find that employment. And so what we're seeing now with the current Medicaid program for people with disabilities, it's limiting that progress. And so why would we then curtail and limit that experience for people simply because of arbitrary numbers that don't really make sense and reflect a life that would really be worth living.
Right. Let's pop the graphic up again if we can, because I also want to look at the proposal that is up at the State House right now. So we're talking about, I love the name of the bill, by the way, Work Without Worry, because you shouldn't have to worry about this when you're, pursuing your dreams and gainfully employed and contributing to society. So the asset limit, I think, is super important because if we look at what it is now in that left column, it's so ridiculously low. And it doesn't allow for people to do things like own a home, own a vehicle. I mean, talk about how important those things are too.
Well, I think we all know how important they are. I mean, that obviously applies to people with disabilities.
To everybody.
Yeah, I mean, what we're looking at there, especially for couples, is that kind of marriage penalty that we talk about, in which we don't have the ability to combine our assets and start new families and grow families, things that are afforded to everybody else that they might take for granted. And that then applies to that upper quadrant as well. We're looking at that combined net family income of 250% of the federal poverty level. You said that for an individual, it was around $37,000.
Yeah.
For a family of two, that's $51,000. I'm getting married in November. I have found a beautiful wife that loves me and I love her to pieces. And I'm a great catch, I think, but I can't see myself asking her to go to her employer and say, I'm going to get married. I can only earn about $25,000
Right.
combined with him. And it seems like such a strict and silly thing to kind of put on people.
Yes.
Where they would then opt into poverty instead of leading lives that allow them to flourish and grow. And I mean, if we're being honest, we're going to grow our tax base. Why would we then restrict that when we can just open up the floodgates and let people really lead their best lives through this program?
Okay, so let's talk brass tacks here. Where does the legislation stand right now? You were at the State House yesterday kind of lobbying for this.
Yeah, so currently it's in the appropriations in the House, and always with these sorts of things, there's going to be a bit of jockeying. We want to keep the text as close to the bill that Representative Turek introduced at the start of the session as we can, so that then it would ideally incorporate that 450% of the FPL and then no asset testing. That less people work, that less people start families, and just lets people with disabilities lead lives that everybody else expects to be able to have access to.
I should have looked up the bill and who's registered for and against it, but who's against this?
I would hope nobody.
Right,
After
same.
hearing how common sense it is, I would hope nobody. It's got good bipartisan support,
Good.
and so we're hoping to move forward with that.
Okay. Ben, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to stay in touch and do some more
Please.
on all of your work. It's very important.